project. As you guys saw in our previous live show that appeared on Grandpa Rails' channel, we are, Ray, Grandpa Rails, and myself are going to start building the Central Valley Model Works bridge, Center Valley Bridge. Grandpa Rails and Ray are doing the single track bridge, and I'm doing the double track bridge. So it's a little wider and a little longer. This is a 200-foot scale bridge. So I'm not sure exactly. I think that equates to about 27 inches long. This was, I didn't do a whole lot of searching, but when I did do searching for a bridge that spanned that long, because I've got a section that actually needs to be that long. Without having to do two bridges, this was the only one that I've quickly found that was a double track bridge that was that long. So that's what I went with. Found a website where I got a really good deal on it. If you do some searching out there, this thing, depending on where you get it from, I've seen it up to $129. I can't remember off the top of my head where I got it, but I think I got mine for under $100. So before I begin, I want to give a huge shout out to Model Railer, John. John helped me out by contributing some funds to this bridge. So when I get this thing built, I'm going to see if I can somehow either make a plaque or a sign and put his name on it, because I guess you could say technically he's half owner. John, thank you so much. Building this with you in mind, and I appreciate it greatly. So let me flip you down here to the workbench. We'll open up this box and we'll see what we got. Alright, so the workbench is a little crammed with some stuff. Little disclaimer, if you haven't seen the other live stream, I am not a builder, modeler of anything. I have never built a model in my life. I've never done any model cars, any model buildings, anything. So this is actually going to be my very first build. So let's tear into this box and see what we get. Alright, at first glance, it looks like we've got a bunch of stuff in plastic. So looks like all these parts are on sprues. Gonna have fun cutting these all out. There are several packages of them. These here, from what I've seen in the videos, these are actually metal. I don't know what you would call them, but they're sheet metal, and these are going to be used to brace in the middle to give some rigidity to the bridge. There are 4 in here, and I'm guessing they span one on one side, one on the other, under each track. There are these little cardboard pieces. Now, at first I didn't know what these things were until I shuffled through them, and I found one that was actually marked with the words shim. When I went through the instructions, I actually found what they're for, and they are very important, so don't lose these if you plan on doing this kit, and you'll see as I go through it exactly what they are for. You do get an instruction manual, which helps you go through the steps of actually building and constructing the bridge. Tells you what parts you're going to need at which point. Looks like it's very detailed. I feel very confident doing the model. These instructions look awesome. Again, being a first-time modeler, doing a project like this scared the crap out of me. In my set, I got a full blown-out, full-scale blueprint, I guess you would say, of the bridge. So this is actually going to help me out a lot because I can lay down my pieces and cut them to where I need. And you can actually see on some parts here, it tells you how to make your particular cuts in order to make things line up correctly so that ends meet at the same place. Let's dig in here. I'm actually going to pause the video at this point because I want to go through and read all these instructions and notes that are on here so that I understand before I start cutting things and doing that. So with that being said, I'll be back when we start our first cut. Oh boy, what did I get myself into? The very first step, I'm supposed to start creating these crossbar sets. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but I've got to create 7 of these. All right, step 1 says that you need to take a cross bearer and put in 4 of what they're calling splice joiners. That's these guys. You're basically going to take your splice joiners and slide them up there. Again, you're doing 4 of them, and I believe these things do not have a front or a back side to them. And there you have it. Right now I've got it. Nope, that's not going to work, so I'm going to flip it up. Okay, that's the way they have it in the description. And now it says that you need to glue the locating strap, which is this guy, to the underside. Looks like the way this fits on there will be a part that is gapped over. Doesn't show that way in the picture. So this thing has got rivets on one side and it's blank on the other side, other than having these 2 channels here and here, which I'm guessing is supposed to help guide this into there like that. So I'm going to try that with this one. They say do not glue these in. These are supposed to be left loose. So I'm going to start with the Model Masters liquid cement for plastics. Thing kind of clicks in place. That glue really sets up quickly. Looks like a little less glue next time, but still have movement, and that piece is on there. So I'm going to say that's a success. Now I just have to do 6 more. So I'm going to set that aside, let that fully cure. And I'm going to get working on the next one. So I'll see you guys when we've got all 7 done. Stop. I have to apologize. I'm not 100% sure what happened, but there's a piece of footage that's missing. From what you just saw to what you're about to see, there's a section that's gone. Not sure if the camera screwed it up, the computer screwed it up, or it's possible that during these late night sessions, I may not have hit the record button. Any one of those options is available. So let me try and walk you through just from showing you the illustrations and the instructions, and hopefully you'll be able to put it together. What you just saw me create was part of the floor assembly, which is this. It takes these cross bearers, which is the long section here, and you have to put the splice joiners in the middle of them and then glue on this locating strap. You have to create 7 of these. Once you get all 7, you move down to the next step, which is taking that what you just created and glue on these stringers. So these stringers here, you're going to glue on each end. You have to put the shim underneath of it, because when you glue on this locating strap to the bottom, it sets these higher than what this is. Otherwise, when you put it together, you're going to have this and a stringer like that, and that's going to be no good. Once you get all of these glued together, you're going to see, you're then going to glue each one of these sections to each other. And what you're going to come out with is what you're about to see, which is that. So that's your entire bottom floor assembly. Once you have that together, the last part is putting on the 2 end caps. So obviously one there and one at the end, because when you create these, you're starting with stringers and gluing on the next section. So this one here is open, and this one here is open, as you can see there. So you need the 2 end caps on. And then we'll pick up from there at the other end of the video. I promise you that footage is there. Now the next step is to take these steel braces and basically feed them in here one at a time to give it some strength, I guess, to hold up the plastic. So there's 4 of those that have to go in, and I believe they said these have to overlap. Almost like trying to feed a belt into belt loops on a pair of pants. Okay, that's as far as that one goes. I'm just going to pick this up and flip it around. So let me just do the same thing over here, and I'm going to feed this the same way. And here's where that overlap happens. I don't know if I'm going to get these 2 in here. Oh yeah, look, took a little force, but that went through. That's as far as that goes. That can go in a little more. Alright. And here's where that overlap happens, and you've got 2 bars going through one slot. There it is. Alright, there we go. So it overlaps in the middle here and here. That's what it looks like. That's the bottom section of the bridge. And now it goes on to finishing the floor assembly by putting in intermediate braces in between here, in those little sections where you see those little kerfs. And then you put the end plates on, and then you put the X bracing and glue that in place. Alright, continuing on with the bridge build here. I'm actually kind of surprised. I almost screwed up, actually. These here in the centers are metal bracing. They're those metal pieces I showed you earlier, and they slide all the way through. But these here, they're called interlocking braces, intermediate braces. I thought that they slid over into these grooves here and just kind of like settled on top of those, but apparently not. These metal bars have to slide all the way through. That was a challenge, especially when it came to the point where these two bars, because there's one that goes from this end and one that goes from this end, and right between this section here, and then over here and here, they double up. So you got to get two of those bars through there, there, and there. And it was it took a little fighting, and I thought I almost broke a couple pieces, but I got them in. So right now, what I'm doing is, since I've got all those interlocking pieces now in place, I got to put the end caps on. So I got one I just started gluing. I've got these two sides here glued. I have to do those two sides. But these are the pieces that actually have the company name on it. I'm not sure how well you can see that with the glare, but kind of stamped in there, I guess, when they made it. It's a part of the plastic mold. So one goes on each side. I started this side. I haven't started the other side yet, but let me get those two on, and then there's one more step in this 1 week build. All right, I've been fighting with myself on how to put these, what do they call these? These bottom laces together, because my instructions don't show how to do it. They explain it, but they actually don't show it, and then they don't even explain these parts on how to put them together. They basically say this one's on the bottom, this one's on the top, and how to put them onto the actual structure, but it doesn't say how to glue it. And I actually broke one of them, so I got to figure out how to get that apart. Then I went back online and I saw a video where a guy went to his instructions, and he had like a template on his instructions with the X on it and showed him how to glue it. My instructions don't have that template. What my instructions do have is the full template of the bottom of the bridge with the X's on them. So I can line my template or my my part up here, and I'm actually dead on all the trusses. So now I just got to follow the template for the X's and glue them together and put them on. That sounds easy. I'm going to give it a try. So I can set this aside and use this X as my starting point. So I'm going to take one of these center pieces, put it right there in the square. I'm going to apply a little bit of glue. Not a lot. A couple drops. You probably can't see it, but I can. One of these X's sits on top of the other. So this part here, this X going from my right to left, is actually raised up a little bit so that this one sits downward. So I'm just going to line that up in this square down here. Lay it down across that block. Push it into place. And if I hold this down on the top and this right in the place of where it needs to be, you'll notice I'm dead in the square there. So that should glue up real nicely. Okay, now that we have that one in there and it's all glued, just took a couple minutes, I'm going to do the second one here. Just a couple dots. Line that up there. Pops right into there. And just going to line this up. I'm happy with that. All right, all 8 of these X's are glued. You can see you got a left and a right, and there's the center piece, which has the rivets on it. These end parts have rivets on it. And here's something I thought was pretty cool. I don't know if you can see it or not, but right in here on this center cross beam here, they actually have it stamped in the plastic. It's a part of the mold that says, "In memory of Jack John C. Parker." And then it gives you, I guess, his birth date and his date of death, which was 7/21/1931. And he died on 8/27/2010. All right, so we got our cross section here. I'm going to line that up with the template on the table. I'm actually going to pull my template down here so it touches the straight edge. This is going to help. There we go. This is going to help me pull these pieces all in line when I glue these cross members in. The only thing you have to remember is these end points, these end caps here, they are not as far out as these, so you don't want to do this. Alright, so they say to start in the middle and then work your way outwards. So really between these two, there really is no middle. So I'm going to take one here, and I'm just going to start on this right side because it's closest to me. And what you have to do is line these up so that they sit halfway on this little pad here on the end of the girder. And you have to do it halfway because the next one has to sit right next to it, and they've got to share that end cap. I'm going to start up here in this top corner. I'm just going to put a small amount of glue right there. I'm going to give that a minute to set up because I don't want to twist it too much, like doing another one. Actually, that one is sitting very nicely. Just going to pull on this a little bit just to make sure that I'm square. I'm not sure how well you can see this, but it looks like I'm a little off. But I think I can get it to go where I need it to. That actually put this side right in where I needed it to be. Alright, let's call that beginner's luck. It actually went nicely. Alright, I'm going to give that a little time to actually set up before I go and I put the next one on. This section here is going to be the next one I'm going to work with. And then I'm just going to alternate back and forth over here, over there, over here, over there. And then once I get this one on, I should be able to do this one and this one at the same time. And let those dry, and then this and this back and forth. And hopefully that'll make this go faster. But I'm not going to leave you guys here to watch all that. I'm going to continue on, and I'll clue you in if I run into any troubles or any bloopers. So we'll be back. Yeah, there were no tricks with this one. It was basically just lining up the plates, putting some glue down. What I did, I think I showed you in the demonstration before, is I did one side and let that glue for a couple minutes until it's set, and then set the next side, which then kind of put the other two sides in perspective. There were a couple of them that I had to push and hold in place for a little bit because they were a little bit off, and I guess that's just the way that I glued the centerpiece in. But yeah, all in all, it seems to have all glued up. So what they recommended in the instructions was to leave this sit overnight to dry, and then tomorrow come back with your glue, and this is where you're actually going to glue all of the gussets and straight edges on the inside together to give this thing some strength. Originally, in a previous video a couple minutes ago, I think I made a comment as to I can't see why they're not gluing it. This is why, so that you could square everything up first and then put your glue on. So I'm going to stop here, let this sit overnight, and then tomorrow come back and finish gluing all that stuff up. And then yeah, I think that's the end of part 1. So I'll see you tomorrow, and we'll finish this out. Thanks, guys. Alright, gang, it's the next day. You know how you know it's the next day? Because I got a different shirt on. So I've let this thing sit overnight. I haven't touched it. It's all straight across the straight edge. And I've used these 1, 2, 3 blocks to put pressure on it to make it straight. Right now, all I've done is glued down all of the X's to all of the points where they connect. So the rivet, whatever you call them, slots there, plates, they're glued in all 4 corners. And then I went through here where it touches, there where it touches, and then the same on the opposite side. Did that for all. I am going to move the blocks out and see how straight we are, and see if we get any movement. I have not yet glued all of the other interlacing parts yet. That's coming up. But let's see what we got. Alright. No movement when I moved that. And no movement when I moved that. That is awesome. That tells me that this thing is straight. When I pick it up, it does have some flexibility to it. Again, that's because not everything is glued. But if I look down straight ahead, man, that's straight. The next step actually says once the bottom of the laces set are all glued to the locating straps, glue this thing, flip it over, and then put some weight on it. Alright, that's it. That's all the gluing. And then it says to flip it over, right side up, put something on it and weigh it down. So let me grab. We're going to cut it there. Section starts bridge ties and rails. A whole new video. See you guys then.